Moose Country, welcome to another episode of Let Us Be Heard.
What's up, everybody? Colin back here for another episode of Let Us Be Heard. I will be donning my purple jersey today in support of Mobius Syndrome Awareness Day. Mobius Syndrome is a rare birth defect that affects the facial muscles as well as your eye movement. And it's just one of those cases where just because somebody looks different doesn't make them any different from you. I am fortunate enough to know a person with this condition, and he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. So don't judge a book by its cover, everybody. We actually did this taping yesterday on Mobius Syndrome Awareness Day, but the video messed up the audio. It was a real show, but I still want to give a shout out to the cause regardless. So we're gonna pretend that today is actually yesterday. We had Aussie King on yesterday. And he's not able to make it back on today to redo his interview. But we do have a beauty lined up for tonight. You've all heard him on TV, followed his commentary. Please welcome Gareth McDonald. Gareth McDonald, how you doing, friend?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, friend?
I'm awesome. Listen, just want to thank you. I know you're a busy guy, and coming on a small YouTube channel just to let the Moose know how it is you contribute to the Moose Maniacs, and the Moose Mania is just it fills my heart that you guys who obviously have way better things to do will pop on my channel just to give us a quick hello. You've been in the business for a while, a long time. Not just Moosehead Games. You want to let me know and others know exactly what it is you do?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess right now, since about 2013, I guess, so we're about 11 years in. I've worked at Hockey Nova Scotia, so that's kind of my full-time gig. And yeah, I mean, it's great. We've got a really good team here, good volunteer staff. Obviously, volunteers so important, crucial, the lifeblood of minor hockey, and not only Nova Scotia, across Canada. So yeah, we got a great team here. And I guess I've been pretty fortunate. They've been pretty flexible with me. I've been able to do all the Mooseheads games since 2017. So it's been busy. It's been a busy stretch. This is my seventh season. But I mean, it's been awesome. And I guess before I started at Hockey Nova Scotia, I had worked at CTV for a few years as a reporter. I did a bit of stuff behind the scenes in the control room there. So yeah, a little bit of broadcast experience. Yeah, before the Mooseheads thing came up. And I guess, all along I'd also been, kind of picking up play-by-play opportunities on the side, just like webcasts and streams and that kind of thing. So yeah, I guess over the years I've had an opportunity to call a variety of different hockey, kind of everything from the World Sledge Hockey Challenge to the Adam B Provincial Championship. So it's kind of been across the board.
That's awesome. Now, what got you interested in hockey and broadcasting? Like, what was it that you said, okay, 7 years ago, this is the career path I'm going to be on now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always had an interest for sure in broadcast and play by play in particular. I grew up watching just a ton of hockey. I mean, playing hockey too, but definitely we had one of those big classic satellite dishes on the side of the house that me and my dad we would watch whatever we could get, basically. A lot of bad hockey in, the dead puck era, the late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of New Jersey Devils and Carolina Hurricanes. I'd basically watch whatever was on. So, yeah, I mean, you hear some great play-by-play voices. Yeah, I mean, I guess I always just kind of had an interest in that. And I think you kind of often hear it. It's the classic play-by-play broadcaster answer. It's, you knew from an early age you probably weren't going to make it professionally, so it's hey, it's the next best thing.
It's funny. I remember watching, the standard 3 channels as a kid, and Channel 3 Saturday Night Hockey with my dad. It's just brought back memories because of the satellite dish and such. It's funny. Every kid, I think, at least in my tax bracket, remembers Channel 3 and watching hockey with their parents, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I watched, yeah, definitely a ton of Hockey Night in Canada, and yeah, loved Bob Cole for sure. So lots lots of great Hockey Night in Canada memories.
So 7 years with the Moose. Do you have any big memories? Anything that stands out where you're like, I'm really glad I was a part of that game?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot. I think I kind of enjoy it. I think a little more every year. But I mean, I guess if you're to look back, I mean, calling, that Xavier Perron overtime winner against Drummondville back in 2019, that was certainly up there. That was unbelievable. And then, from there, that the Memorial Cup was just electric. The atmosphere at the Scotiabank Center was just off the charts. So, I mean, it's tough to beat those high stakes, games like that, like where it's just, there's so much energy. You can feel it, not only in the building, but just walking around downtown. It's there. It's in the air. It's alive. And I mean, that's kind of what that whole Memorial Cup week was like. I think that's kind of like playoff hockey as well. Just, the playoffs, it's so much different. I mean, I guess if looking at this year, calling, the Jordan Dumais 304th point was pretty cool. That was awesome. That's a cool regular season moment, but I think the playoffs are another beast, right? And yeah, I love it. And obviously like last year that was such a fun playoff run.
It was a disheartening playoff run. I really feel like that was our year. I just think the bounces didn't go our way, and it was a beautiful run for the Moose. We were just just that close.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you to look back at it, I mean, it's kind of wild the way it worked out. I mean, what Quebec finished with the best record. No one was giving them a chance against Gatineau, and nobody really gave the Moose a chance against Sherbrooke either,
That's right.
especially going back to Sherbrooke down 2-0. So, yeah, I mean, definitely crushing the way that it ended. You're up by a goal with 3 minutes left, and in the third period, that close to forcing Game 7, and then who knows? But yeah, I mean, it was still an unbelievable year. And I mean, just, reflecting on that too. You look back at that, like I said, there was nobody that really gave the Mooseheads a chance against Sherbrooke. There were so many questions heading into the playoffs about the blue line. It was such a young blue line. And I mean, they just surprised everyone, exceeded expectations, punched above their weight class. And no, it was again, crushing the way it all wrapped up, but just, unbelievable to see it happen.
It's funny this isn't something that in the list that I sent you, but you talked about Jordan Dumais' 304th point. How hard is that as a commentator to know all the ins and outs, the backgrounds, the records that are coming out? How crucial is that to your job to get the real information from all the different teams and be able to bring that news to people in real time?
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, I do like to pay attention, certainly when it comes to like, part of the prep. I think when it comes to other teams is, just you want to make sure that you call a kid's first goal properly. You want to know that, who has a goal, who hasn't scored yet, and why that moment might be special. I mean, I think the focus though, it's for me as the Mooseheads broadcaster, it is on the Mooseheads. Yeah. And I will say, I'm pretty fortunate to to have Scott McIntosh as a pal, a buddy. He's really good at what he does. I mean, a big part of obviously what he does is it is tracking, the stats, the history. Is kind of like the amateur team historian right now. So yeah, he definitely stays on top of that stuff, and especially for home games, getting him to come on the pregame show with me. He helps tee some of that stuff up. And so, yeah, we'll kind of talk a bit throughout the week and certainly right before the games about important stuff like that. So I do try to stay on top of it, but I'd say heading into a game, if I'm maybe a bit behind in that particular day, I know we got Scotty there to to pick up the loose ends.
Oh, Scotty's a legend. From the moment I started out the channel, he's been nothing but helpful, but not only helpful but encouraging. He has a duty to protect the people against just your Joe Blow schmo with a cell phone who wants to talk to the players. But he's very democratic about how he tells me, not this, not now, and anything he's been able to do for me in the channel so far, he's been very gracious in doing so. So, shout out to Scott. He's a wonderful guy.
Big shout out to Scotty.
He's an incredible person, man. Let me ask you: do you have a ritual? Or a certain path that you follow, both game days at home and game days away?
I mean, I do like to definitely get a little bit of prep done, obviously, during the day. In advance of a game, I would say that is easier for me on weekends than it is during the week when I am working my actual job. But
so this isn't your full-time job?
No, this is not my. This is the Mooseheads. Yeah, it's a part-time job. It's busy. Like I said, I do have a full-time job with Hockey Nova Scotia that I have been doing for quite a while. But definitely, I outside of hockey, there's not a lot of excitement in my personal life.
It's funny. I always thought, because I've been doing some research on you, and yeah. I know you're with Hockey Nova Scotia, and I always thought that was a volunteer position that you did in your spare time. But that's actually your job. See?
That is the job.
I'm learning every day, man. I'm learning every day. Like, I love it. It's wicked.
You know what? You're killing it.
So what goes into away games? Because you do travel with the boys, correct?
Yeah. No, we do a fair bit of travel there. It's. I mean, basically, it's. You basically if it's like a maritime road game, let's say it's Moncton. I mean, I guess the bus typically arrives at 12:45. You're on the road by 1:15, and I mean there's not a ton of excitement, I suppose, on a game day. I'm kind of doing the prep on the bus. We're fortunate we typically have access to Wi-Fi. There's we'll stop for a pregame meal on the way, but no, I mean it's basically just on the bus. That I would say the fellas they are resting up for the most part. They're getting ready. They're getting focused and ready for the game. I am trying to get my prep prepared, and then once you get to the rink, you need to typically just bang off the interviews, right? So you're looking for the coaches. You're looking for typically a player on either side, and then it's a little bit of audio editing. I'll take those up to the press box and trim them up, and send them off to the radio station, and we're good to go. And then it's back to just going over game notes.
So they're not rowdy on the bus?
It's not too crazy on the bus. No, it's maybe after a big win, the first little bit might be a little rowdy. But no, it's I'd say that the fellas are typically on their best behavior on there.
I couldn't imagine this. Like I see them after games, and with personalities like Russo and Schultze, I couldn't imagine there'd be a quiet minute in the bus. Let's be honest.
It's not as wild as you'd think. I would say a guy like Schultze, yeah, he's a big personality. I would say Schultze at 17 was a lot louder than Schultze at 19. That's for sure. I remember when he first got. I remember looking back, I'd be like, "Who is that kid? Like, what is that guy? Is loud, man." But he's great. He's a great kid. Fantastic.
Maybe that's why he's my favorite on the team. I just seen him quick with him. See, I'm a loudmouth in the lane. In the lineup, I have other fans telling me I'm too loud, quiet down, and so I think that's maybe why I connect with him so much. So, which do you prefer, color commentary or play-by-play?
Oh, I'd say definitely the play-by-play.
Really?
For sure. Oh yeah. No, I mean, color. I mean, color. I think color commentary that should typically be reserved for. It's like I had Stephen Davis on last year. He did some color. He was fantastic.
I had him on the show as well. He has an interview on here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's fantastic. Just a complete natural. I'd say he'll be able to. He would have an opportunity definitely to do whatever he chose. I would say in broadcasting, he could do play by play. He could do color. That guy, the sky's the limit for him. He's just an unbelievable talent. And in the past, I mean, I did have Jesse Lucier on a few years back. He was just another one of those guys that kind of came in and was just so natural at color. But I think when it comes to color commentating, it's best to kind of have someone that does have that elite level playing experience. They have been, on the ice in those big moments. Yeah, it's there's yeah, I mean, there's just so much to be said for, you know, being in a video session, 5 days a week with coaches that are breaking video down, trying to help you be a better player. I mean, you can't help but pick up a ton of that. And yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes, and I mean, you obviously have to be confident and comfortable during the broadcast, which obviously Jesse and Steven had no issue with. But I
No,
would say there's
they both have larger than life personalities for sure.
no doubt.
And it's funny because I compare that to Schultz as well. Schultz and sorry, we're just talking about him. My mind went blank.
So, you were talking about Russo earlier.
No. We had him on the show. You were just talking.
Stephen Davis.
Davis.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Schultz and Davis were good friends, right? So I think that they're just a lot alike, right?
Two great Americans.
Great Americans. That's right. So what was the World Juniors like for you?
Yeah, I mean that was it was unbelievable. I mean, just such a blast. I loved that tournament. I just like everyone. I can remember, being 6, 7 years old and just watching that. I think when I kind of, around that age, that was when it really, that was like the early 90s, I think, where it really kind of took hold at Christmas time, right? It was like TSN really started pumping it up in the early 90s there, and I think I got in on the ground floor. So I've always loved the World Juniors. I think that event's unbelievable. Back in 2007 when it was over in Leksand, Sweden, I actually went over there to see it. That was the Jonathan Taves Carey Price shootout. If you watch the replay of the shootout, every shot is on the same net, and if you look behind that net, there's a Nova Scotia flag. That's us. We were directly behind the net for every shot in that shootout. So now it was it was that was unbelievable. So I've always loved that event. And so I mean, yeah, getting to call it last year was just, it was off the charts. I mean, it was such a thrill, and to see, what Connor Bedard did. I mean, it was incredible. And I mean, obviously, you get to call a golden goal, Dylan Guenther's goal there to clinch it, to do that in Halifax. It was awesome. I guess I've said before, if I have one regret, it was the Connor Bedard goal. Like it was loud in that place, obviously, after the Dylan Guenther goal, the gold medal goal, like to seal that win. It was, the building was shaking for sure, but the pop in the place when Bedard scored was like something I think I'd never experienced before. That game, like that overtime goal against Slovakia, just there was so much tension in the building. That was the quarterfinals, and it's you don't want to lose in the quarters, especially on home ice. It's just it's crushing. So I think the way that that goal, it was absurd. He walks every Slovak on the ice and tucks it home past Adam Guyana. It was incredible. And I mean, it felt like there was about 6 times on that shift, I think, that he could have scored. So I felt like I kept building to it. I was doing that game alone. And I mean, it was so much emotion. Your voice is rising. And then finally, when he did score, I never had my voice crack the way it did when I was trying to yell over 10,000, 500 screaming fans in there. It was crazy. Like the place, I thought the press box was going to, our booth, I thought it was just going to collapse. I've never felt the building feel the way it did when that goal was scored. So yeah, I mean, it was just electric. And I guess the voice crack. It's a small price to pay to experience a moment like that.
Oh yeah, you were in the presence of greatness. I'm not Bedard's biggest fan, but that's simply because I'm a Dumais fan, and I feel like Dumais didn't get the same publicity, and they're very, I don't know, in my opinion, very equal. So I'm kind of a hater, but the kid's an amazing talent, and he's still doing exactly what you described in the NHL. Like, he's able to compete at that level. He's an incredible kid.
No, he's a phenom for
Yeah.
sure, and a next level talent. I mean, it was unbelievable what he did last year.
So
But yeah, I would have loved to have seen Doomer there
yeah,
for sure as
ah.
well. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that would have been incredible, especially after Colton Dock went down. It just to me it would have made a lot of sense. To get Dumais out there, but
He would have been healthy. The problem is I don't think there's very many times where Team Canada has anything but 19-year-olds on their team. I don't know why, because that way it's like the States and the Czechs had 10 or 11 returning players, whereas the only one that we had was a call up from the previous year. So you're right. I think Dumais should have been there. I think he had a place there, but it is what it is. You and I had Mavs Gillis on the show here, and you and him both called the Rooster goal. Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, I'm here.
I
got you.
You guys both called the Rooster goal, and they ended up going with your call, and he was a little salty about it. But you can hear the energy in your voice when Rooster scored that empty netter. Do you want to go into that and just tell us your thoughts?
Mavs, he was disappointed about my call. Come on, this guy's supposed to be my friend.
No, you're twisting my words.
Man. Mavs, I'm very disappointed. I'm going to have a talk with Mavs.
Yeah,
I will talk to him tomorrow.
Yeah, he was disappointed that they used your version of it instead of his.
Unbelievable. That guy, he can't be happy for me once.
But the hair, the hair. He's got an incredible head of hair, man. You can't be mad at that.
I told him before. He's got like a kind of a Guy Lafleur thing going.
He does, man. I love Guy Lafleur.
Yeah, absolutely.
So walk us through how you were feeling.
And you see him at some of those U18 games. He's out at like at a Cole Harbour Wolfpack game with just ripping around out there. He's got to get the bucket off so you can see that salad, right?
Oh, he has a solid flow on his head, bud, for sure.
100%. But yes, the Rousseau. I mean, the Rousseau goal, that was. It was incredible, and I mean, I think there's a lot of energy because it's just it's kind of pure excitement, right? Because you just never expect to see it, right? Like you never. I mean, I had never seen anything like that live before. I had never seen a goalie goal, so it's just you're not prepared for it, and I mean, it was. I don't know. It was unreal. I think like as soon as it was kind of dumped in, you kind of, it's like the radar goes off, and it's like, okay, this could be something, because he did. The boy, I remember, the boys gave it to him last year during the finals, because I don't know if you remember this. I think it was game 2 against Quebec,
where he called for the puck.
He had the puck, and I
somebody
think
took it away
if I recall,
from him.
he might have. Well, yeah, or he might have like hit Schultz, like trying to.
The way it looked to me that Schultz actually went to take the puck away to move a lead pass. Right. I remember I've actually had the same discussion.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I remember he was going for it that night, and I think given the circumstances, I don't think he had the full support of his teammates to do that in game 2 of the league final, but. They love the guy. So yeah, I would say that the timing for this one, it worked out a little better, obviously.
100%.
And I mean, it was awesome. It was just incredible. And I mean, you saw his reaction, the reaction of his teammates. I mean, that is a night that, let's not forget, Jordan Dumais got off a plane from Columbus about an hour and a half before that game, and he came out and scored a hat trick.
5 points.
And 5 points, and all anybody was talking about afterwards was Rousseau's goal. So
I mean, look at his celly.
It's wild.
He's got the best celly on the ice.
It was unbelievable.
It was crazy.
Unbelievable. And there's a kid with just so much confidence. It's I mean, I think if and again, that kind of goes back to trying that in game two. I think that just kind of speaks to the confidence and swagger that he's got, and that's what separates him. Obviously, there's the athletic abilities. I think his ability to read the play, anticipate, that's all just off the charts. But I think to be an incredible goalie, you do need a bit of that self confidence, and I'd say a guy like that's got it in spades.
That's why goalies are just a different breed, man.
No, 100%.
I wanted to talk. So I was watching the game, the last away game. I think we were in Moncton. I think just recently, last week. Was it Moncton?
There was Moncton was 2 weeks ago. At Sunday, they were in Sydney.
Yeah. So I got the opportunity to watch that with Tyler at his house, and we left the game on for about 5 minutes after it ended, just to see if he got a shout out from Mr. Gareth McDonald. Let us know how that started.
My good buddy Tyler. Yeah, I give Tyler a little shout out. It's typically reserved for the home games and the post game show. But yeah, I see my man Tyler around the rink a lot before the games. He's always down hanging around Benji and Mason and the fellas. So Tyler does like a shout out. He has made that very clear to me. He says, when I see him, Gareth, you're going to say my name on the radio after the game. So it's not so much, it's more of a directive from Tyler, I think. But I'm happy to oblige. He's a great guy and a great assistant equipment manager.
We're just in his world, and he's the boss, man. Like he's an incredible soul.
He's great.
Mavs does the interviews with him, and you
Tyler talks. He does like a little interview too. He likes to do a prediction. I can't. We have used a few of his predictions. He does like a record there as well. So yeah, we have used a few. Tyler, I will say right now, he is very inclined to adding a goalie goal to that prediction. So I can't use all of those all the time, I find. Because sometimes 10-0 with a goalie goal seems far-fetched to me.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll give my man the shout out for sure.
He called at the very beginning of the year in camp. He said that in December's trade, we will be getting Luke Woodworth. He was adamant about that right up until the end of the deadline. Like, we were getting Luke Woodworth. He wanted Luke Woodworth.
Yeah. I think the Drummondville Volts, they want Luke Woodworth too. So, no, it's he's a great player, good Bridgewater boy, and would have been for sure would have been a nice ad, but obviously right now Drummondville they are all in as well. So he's gonna be a big part of that team.
Yeah, they're killing it. So as you can see, we've had this talk before we started the recording. I'm not a professional. I have nerves about me every minute of these interviews. It's just I'm not as comfortable as I should be yet. Right. Do nerves still get to you?
I like to think I have moved past nerves. I definitely had a ton of nerves. A ton of nerves, like when I started, for sure. There was so much that was like kind of brand new, and you feel definitely there's a pressure. There's that people listening, at that point know way more about the team than you do, and you don't want to say anything dumb. So you kind of I would say early on, you're trying to do a ton of prep. You're probably over prepared at some time at points. But I think again the best thing just to get better, to get more relaxed, it's just to do it more. It's just getting the reps in. You get some practice. It's you're going to get more comfortable with the process, and I think that will then kind of be reflected in you'll be more confident, and then just by being more confident about it, it's also going to sound better. So that's it's kind of a across the board. Just I think it's like with anything in life, to improve, to get better at it, to lose the nerves, you kind of have to do it and keep it going.
So you have a YouTube channel as well, right? So you branched out. You like you have YouTube. You're with Hockey Nova Scotia. You're a broadcaster. Now I looked at your YouTube. There's about four or five videos on there.
Yeah, I don't think I've got much on there.
Now, is that something you're gonna try to build, or is this is that a dead avenue for you? You not don't want anything to do with it?
I mean, maybe at some point.
Yeah.
I think it would be. I think if I had a little bit more time, I would be very interested in, yeah, for sure, in putting a little more content on there. But yeah, I mean, right now I tend to just cut a few highlights at the end of the season and throw those on for the most part. I think that's about all that's on there at
Yeah.
the moment.
Yeah.
But let's not rule anything out. It's possible.
Mav's got a channel. He's got quite a few videos up. He's giving you a run for
Mavs
you.
has a lot of content. Mavs is he's a content. He's an influencer.
And you guys are from the same
Mavs is a-
area, correct?
I am from Cape Breton. Mavs is from Cape Breton, but no, we are not from the same area. We are from very different sides of the island. I always make that very clear. He's a Sydney guy.
Oh,
you know?
that's not. Yeah, that's not.
I'm not.
Well,
from, that's
well,
very different.
It depends.
That's very
North
different than
Sydney,
from-
Sydney Mines. That's different. But
to
North-
me, it's all kind of Sydney.
I spent some time
won't
in
like that.
I spent some time in
They won't
North Sydney, and I'll tell you, I would never again drink at the Main Street Lounge, ever
Okay.
again. That's where
Is that for your own? Is that for your own safety?
that's where you go to fight. But oh my god,
Yeah. Okay.
like, and I'm talking, we got in a fight in the bar, we left the bar,
Uh-oh.
we got in a fight but with 17-year-olds. It was crazy.
Uh-oh.
North Sydney's North Sydney's not an easy place to walk through.
You got to keep your head in the swivel when you're in North Sydney.
So do you feel some kind of way when calling a Cape Breton Halifax game?
Do I feel like
Conflicted.
No,
No?
no. I mean, honestly, like no, like honestly, so I'm from Port Hood. It's kind of the opposite side. We're kind of the west, it's the western side. I did not spend much time in Sydney. I don't know if I even really went to an Eagles game as a kid.
Really?
I went to a lot of Mooseheads games. Yeah, I don't know. It just, for the big shopping trip, it was off to Halifax. It was we did not go to Sydney. So we'd taken a lot of Mooseheads games when I was a kid, and yeah. So I would say my allegiance has always been kind of more to the
Moosehead?
Moose.
I'd love to hear
Sure.
it. I'd love
For
to hear
sure.
it. You Mainlander at
Right from the
heart.
beginning. Right from the beginning.
Mainlander at heart, man. I'll tell you.
There we go.
So, what's next for you? Are you planning on expanding on the broadcasting side or the Hockey Nova Scotia side? Like, what's next for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Who knows? I'm an open book. No, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm in a pretty good place right now. I'd say things are good at Hockey Nova Scotia. I love doing the Mooseheads games. I'm having fun with both. So for right now, this is good.
Yeah.
This is great.
And what
So-
are some of your duties at Hockey Nova Scotia?
Yeah, I mean it's like a communications role. So there's some social media involved. There's some video, some website stuff, press releases, a little bit of media relations, PR. It's yeah, and then there's just like some internal communications, obviously, as well. So it's definitely busy. It's busy, but like I said, we got a pretty good team here.
Now, through Hockey Nova Scotia, do you get to see any of the people who will be in the draft, the Q draft next year and the year after and such? Like, do you get to follow the boys in lower leagues?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not, I don't keep immediate tabs on it, but I mean, certainly during, like we do have like a high performance program here. There's usually some events with the Q. They have kind of changed it a bit over the last few seasons. There's, been some changes on that front, but I'd say the big event, kind of the marquee event on the high performance calendar, is the Atlantic Challenge Cup in Moncton. That's typically Thanksgiving weekend, and yeah, you get your elite, your top female and male players, basically female and male, like U14 through to to U18, I guess, on the female side. So yeah, it's a great event, and we have definitely had a lot of pretty talented players who have come through the ranks there. And I mean, you go to that event, you're going to see a lot of players that will be playing in the queue for sure at some point.
Subaru has an amazing team this year. There's a few guys on that team that you need to look forward to being drafted this year, and they're just going to dominate in their early years of the QMJHL.
Yeah, no, for sure. They've got some great kids there for sure. Max have got a good team this year. Yeah, it's no shortage of talent here. In this province for sure.
It's an amazing place for hockey, man. Listen, I just want to say thank you again. It takes it only takes a minute, but it means the world to myself and the people who will be watching it. Good luck in everything you do, and I hope to see you at the arena.
No, for sure. I'd love that. This has been great. I've enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, man. You have yourself a great night. Hope you're all healthy, safe, and happy out there. And as always, go Moose, go.